Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be full of the good stuff. So today's video is a book recommendation of 3 books I think you are going to find extremely useful if you are just dipping your toe into the world of specialty coffee. Let's get started. So, first book, we have the Coffee Dictionary, an A to Z guide of growing, roasting, brewing and tasting by Maxwell Colonna-Dashwood. So Maxwell Colonna-Dashwood, who is he? Well, he owns a coffee roasting company in Bath, doing some really interesting things with water for coffee. I have just backed his Kickstarter campaign, which is called Peak Water. I'm going to link it below. And he is basically coming up with a filter jug for the home user to get the best water possible for coffee. Check it out, it's really good. I've backed it, something that I think is going to revolutionise a cup of coffee for the home user. But let's dig into this book. So this book is a beautifully illustrated A to Z guide of the coffee world. So basically terminology, every single thing you need to know about coffee is in here, all the way from A, which starts with acidity, all the way through to Z, which is Zambia. Zambia being the coffee origin of choice. Just a really nice, well put together book, full of all the industry terminology you will ever need to know about coffee. You see, I think one thing we do well in the specialty world is we give everybody a lot of information, but that information can be slightly intimidating to somebody who is just stepping into the coffee world. I think we don't really think about that too much when we're banding certain things around, like the names of different varietals of coffee and things like meters above sea level. And I think, yeah, that can be a little bit intimidating for some people, to the point where it might even stop somebody actually going and searching out that coffee. We get asked a lot of questions all the time, and some people think, or some people find it quite embarrassing to be asking these questions. So you want to check out this book. You really need to check out this book. It is, like I said, well illustrated. It's got some really nice, concise bits of information about everything you need to know, from your origins to your varietals of coffee, to where coffee's drunk, to even taste maps of tongues. I mean, it's a beautiful book, and it's something I think anybody who is interested in coffee should own. So that is the first one, Maxwell Colonna-Dashwood's The Coffee Dictionary. I'm going to link below where you can buy that. Secondly is the World Atlas of Coffee by James Hoffmann. This is the 2nd edition. Published in 2014, the 1st edition. This one has got a few more coffee origins in there, but this book is split into 3 sections. So it's an introduction to coffee. So we start out looking at things like the actual coffee tree, how it's grown, Arabica and Robusta, getting into processing and how coffee is harvested, how it's dried, how it travels, all the different grades of coffee as well. Secondly, you have got everything to do with the cup of coffee itself. So from bean to cup. So you've got the roasting process, you have got how to brew coffee, what water is best to use for coffee, espresso equipment, how coffee originated in Italy. And then you've got the 3rd section, which I think is just the most fabulous part about this book, is all the different coffee origins. So it starts off with Africa, gives you a run through of all the African countries that grow coffee, through to Central America, South America, into Indonesia and Asia, and a few new origins that have been put in there, like the Philippines, Thailand, and I think China are in there as well. Absolutely beautifully illustrated, again, lovely pictures of coffee growing regions, and like all the different kinds of drinks that are made in coffee. This is one I would highly recommend. I would really recommend getting this. This is a really good gift as well for somebody who is interested in coffee. Good for the coffee professional like myself, but also good for someone who is just starting out and wanting to learn more. So that's the World Atlas of Coffee by James Hoffmann. And then third book is a book by a guy named Ryan Brown. Now, I stumbled across this from searching endlessly online about green coffee buying. So my job for Rounton Coffee is to buy all the green, and I've got a huge responsibility really to forecast how much coffee we're going to need at any given time. Coffee only has one harvest in the majority of countries, so I need to be making sure that I'm buying enough coffee so we never run out of coffee for our customers. So I have a huge responsibility, and I wanted to find some literature or a book that could be a reference for me to find out how I could best buy the coffee I needed for my customers at Rounton Coffee. And I stumbled across this. It's called Dear Coffee Buyer. It's a guide to sourcing green coffee. Now, Ryan Brown is a guy who has worked for some really prestigious American coffee companies, from cafe-based all the way to importers. And it is a real philosophy on how he buys his green coffee. Starting out from his first journey out to Honduras, when he was first introduced to the world of coffee, all the way through to all the different varietals, all the defects in coffee, how you would store coffee, all the cultivars and the cup characteristics for every origin that you go to, how it's processed, how it's harvested, how you would cup coffee, how you would taste coffee, what you would look for in a good cup of coffee and a bad cup of coffee, and also looking at how you have an impact on how you buy for your customers. So what I really found interesting in this book is how he used to buy for certain customers for certain companies. Now, it always interests me, and I'm always striving to buy better quality coffee for my customers, but there's no point in me buying coffees that I can't really sell to my customer base. And what Ryan has really done in this book is he sort of created his philosophy, which really rings true with the way that I would like to buy all the coffee for Rounton Coffee, and that is just looking at who we sell our coffee to, what they are interested in, what they want to drink and what they want to get out of it, but also how I can then communicate the coffee I buy. So what I want to do is I want to buy really good coffee, but I also want to buy it responsibly. I want to have the story attached to the coffee, and I want people to know exactly where that coffee has come from and how that is benefiting the people within that value chain. And that is exactly what this book does. Probably more in line for the coffee professional, but I would still recommend it to anybody who has got any interest in coffee at all. It's called Dear Coffee Buyer. It's by Ryan Brown. It's beautifully illustrated as well. That's a running theme through all these books. And yeah, it's just a really good, insightful look at the coffee buying journey. Cool. So that's the 3 books I would recommend. It's coming on to Christmas soon, which I can't believe we're in August. So really good gifts for anybody. I'm going to link them all below where you can actually buy them. A few little websites you want to probably go and check out. We're always constantly striving to learn new things at Rounton Coffee. Constantly trying to push the bar on how we roast, how we source, how we brew, and just get the best out of the coffee that we are going to then sell to all our customers. So thanks for watching, really appreciate it. Subscribe if you can. If you found this interesting, comment below if you can as well. Until the next video, stay focused.